Welcome to another episode of The Short Stacks. This week we're doing something a little bit different. It's New Year's Eve after all, so we wanted to make it special. I brought back past guest and friend of the pod, Lauren Fanella, aka Literary Lauren, and she and I are going to be talking about our top 5 reads of 2018 and the books we're most excited about reading in 2019. Oh, I didn't even do this. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas. Before I dive into anything else, I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening to this show. The Stacks started in 2018, kind of on a whim. I just wanted to talk about books that other people weren't talking about, and I reached out to some friends and said, if I make a podcast, will you come on? And now here we are, 35,000 downloads later, and I'm just so grateful for all of you for listening to the show, for reaching out, for commenting, for following, for liking, for whatever you've done. Thank you so, so much. This show has been so special to me, and when I started it in April, I couldn't have imagined that it would have grown as much as it has. So thank you again for telling your friends, and thank you for allowing me to have listeners who aren't my mom, my brother, and my husband. Okay, now let's talk about Patreon. Patreon is a website where you contribute to the work we're doing on the show. Patreon allows for us to launch new content like the Short Stacks, and I'm so grateful for those of you who have contributed and who continue to contribute to this show. The fun thing about Patreon is that you also get perks for yourself, so you can participate in our virtual book club, submit questions for our guests, and get shout-outs on the show. If you're interested in being part of the Stacks Pack community, go to patreon.com/thestacks. If you prefer one-time contributions, you can also check out paypal.me/thestackspod. Okay, I'm going to ask you for a favor. Will you make sure that you're subscribed to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts and that you've rated and reviewed the show? The word is starting to build about the podcast, and the more ratings and reviews we get, the more people we can reach, which means in turn, I can book more diverse and awesome guests for you to listen to. If you would take a few moments wherever you're listening, especially iTunes, and write a short review. Okay, now it's time for the Short Stacks. Our guest today is friend of the pod and past guest from episodes 15 and 16, Lauren Fanella. Lauren joins me as we each name our top 5 books of 2018 and look ahead for the 5 books we're most excited about for 2019. Okay, here goes. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Short Stacks. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We've actually brought back one of our most beloved guests, Lauren Fanella. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
Hi.
She's at Literary Lauren, if you don't remember her. We talked about Reincarnation Blues back over the summer, but I brought Lauren back because not only is she my book friend, but she's also probably one of the most well-read people that I know in real life. So today, New Year's Eve, we've decided instead of doing, anything new, we're going to round up what we read this year and look forward to what we're excited about in 2015. Nope, that passed. 2019. So we're going to start with each of us put together a list of the 5 books, the 5 best books that we read this year. And then we also put together a list of 5 books that we're looking forward to. We have no plan and no agenda. We're just going to see how this goes. So without any further ado, Lauren, what's your first most favorite book or best book that you read this year?
Okay, so the first one I'm going to pick is actually probably my favorite from 2018. So it's The Pisces by Melissa Broder. I discovered her this year, and she basically changed my life. She's become one of my favorite writers. She writes a lot about mental health, and this book was very strange. It's about a woman who comes out to Venice, California, and she joins a love and sex addicts group, and she's going through a lot of stuff. So she's taking care of her sister's dog in her house while she's doing that, and she meets a merman, and they have a love affair, and it's great.
It's very Shape of Water sounding.
Yes, but a way more twisted and eccentric, I think.
Okay. I know a little bit about this book. I've not read it, but I've heard it's pretty polarizing.
Oh, yes.
I think people love it or hate it.
Yes, you're either going to love it or hate it. I cannot see someone going into this book being like, meh, it was fine. She makes points that you're either going to fully be there for or just completely disagree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Lauren. I know this book was really polarizing, but you're not alone. I reached out to our Bookstagram community or our followers on Instagram and asked them to share with us their favorite books. And Kara Reeds also picked The Pisces as her favorite book. Have you guys talked about it?
Yes, we have. Kara and I read very similarly, so I'm not surprised. We loved that book.
So I just am really fascinated by like this weird, it's like fantasy, romance, twisty. And it's a total departure from her nonfiction, right? Because she wrote like a collection.
Right. She's written essay collection. She's also started out as a poet, actually. I haven't read her poetry yet, but I did read her essay collection after I finished this book called So Sad Today. Loved that as well. So,
and her Twitter is So Sad Today or something, right?
Yes, that's her Twitter account as well, which is a great follow.
I love that. Okay, so that's your first Melissa Broder. Here's my first book. We did it on the show. I loved it so much. I've been thinking about it all year. It's Bad Blood by John Carreyrou. It's the story of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos and the crazy fraud scam that like the Queen scammer Elizabeth Holmes ran on America. The book is crazy. It's so good. It's written investigative journalism, but the story, the fact that she got away with all of this is just so insane. And I've just been thinking about it, and I can't wait for news alerts to come to my phone anytime anything happens with her. I'm like, is she in jail yet? When is the trial? So that's my first pick for the year. And if you've read the book and you loved it and you haven't yet, go back and listen to my conversation with Nancy Rommelman. We talk about the book for the Stacks Book Club, and so good.
Yeah, I'm actually gifting that to one of my coworkers for Christmas. I know this is going to come out after Christmas, so I'm gifting it to him because he loves nonfiction. And so I was like, Tracy loved it, so I'm going to give it to him. It's a total
dad book. Yeah. I've told many people, like, please tell your dad.
Yeah,
he'll love it.
And
or your uncle.
It's being made into a movie
with
right?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, as playing her.
Elizabeth Holmes. I know. I can't wait. I can't wait to see who plays all the like real life figures, because there's real famous people. Like George Shultz and like secretaries of state and Larry Ellison from Oracle. So I'm like, how are they going to get all these people and who's going to play everybody? So I'm super excited to see that.
Because all those people are still alive, I'm assuming.
I mean, they were as of the writing of this book. Yeah, so. We'll see if they die before the movie comes out. I mean, I don't want anybody to die, but some of them are old. Like it's like older former secretaries of state and things like that, like defense secretaries. So who knows? Okay, what's your next one?
Okay, so my next book was actually a Stacks Book Club pick earlier this year.
Okay.
It was The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner, and I loved this book, and I was really happy that you were going to read it on the podcast. So I know you already talked about it, but it's a really dark, gritty book set in California. Being from California, I love books set in the state, and it was just so smart, and she just had a lot to say. And I heard her talk at our local bookstore, and she had worked on this book for 5 years, and the research that went into it was just insane. And so it really inspired me to pick up this book after hearing her speak. And I love a book where all the characters are quote unquote unlikable, but it just was really engrossing. I finished it in a day and a half. I just couldn't stop reading it. It was great. So.
Yeah, the writing's so good.
Yeah.
The story is dark and twisty. That's going to be the theme, I think, of today's episode. Dark and twisty books that we liked in 2018, because we only like dark and twisty books.
Basically.
So yeah, if you're hoping that Emily Giffin is on this list, I'm super sorry. I'm sure she's lovely. We didn't read it.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
No.
I don't even know what it's called, but I know that she had a book as Blue. It looked nice. If you read it and you liked it, awesome. We don't know. We don't know about that book.
We're like Meredith and Christina from Grey's Anatomy.
Yes, we're dark and twisty for sure. I'm obviously Christina. Nice try. I'm Christina, and I don't want to have to fight you over it. I'm Christina. Okay, so my next pick is, this is going to be crazy, people, but I picked a fiction book that came out in 2018 that I really liked. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called There. It's by Tommy Orange. It is really badass. The book follows a group of Native Americans they're not actually a group necessarily. It follows a different, disparate Native Americans in and around the Bay Area, and they all come together at a powwow in Oakland. But what's cool about the book is it's told from a ton of different perspectives. It's told in the first person, it's told in the second person. Like, it's really a feat of writing and staying true to my roots. It's dark and twisty. It feels like it could be a true story. It's not, but if you told me that it was, I'd be like, sure, that makes sense. It's written in that same style of like, I believe this is all possible. So that's really cool. There's an awesome prologue and an interlude in the middle of the book, both that are nonfiction, almost essay styles, and there are searing indictments of America and our relationship to Native Americans. So the book is taking on racism and stereotypes and, you know, all the things that I just love. So it was very high on my list, and it was a debut. So no pressure, Tommy Orange, but you have so much pressure. Like, how do you even write another book?
I know. And isn't his next book kind of associated with it?
I don't know.
I think it is. I'm not sure. But that prologue, I read that prologue and was blown away. I was like, this is going to be good. Like, I knew just from that it was going to be amazing. And it was. It was
so good. And it's the prologue is so different from the rest of the book.
Yeah.
But he definitely wants you to know from the start. He's like, this is where I'm coming from.
Right. The tone of the book. Totally.
Yeah. Such a good book. Okay. You're up next.
Good. Okay. So my next book is a nonfiction. Shocker. It is All You Can Ever Know by Nicole Chung. It's a memoir, which is my favorite genre of nonfiction. So not too surprising for me. But she is a Korean American. She was adopted by white Caucasian couple.
You can say white on this show.
Yeah, white.
Unless they're from like the Caucasus Mountains, you can just say white. It's fine.
She's adopted by white people that live in rural Oregon. Oof. And so she just talks about her childhood growing up in that, where she was, you know, the only Asian and she didn't really know where she came from exactly. And just how it's about being adopted, but also being adopted by someone from a different cultural background, and how they didn't really expose her to her, you know, cultural background of being Korean. And she does eventually meet her sister. She had sisters, and what was interesting is that the parents had told them that she died, that she was dead. And so
her birth parents told the siblings.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it was a shock to them when she was finally able to connect with them. And she actually has a really good relationship with her sister now. And it was just about her decision to, you know, find her birth parents, and then how she went about it, and then when she wanted to decide to contact them. So it was just a really powerful story. I think everyone should read it. It really, you know, there's not a lot out there, I think, about adoption, like in that kind of story. And I think it was really well done, and her writing's beautiful. So that doesn't hurt.
I really want to read this book. I've heard so many good things.
Valentine's Day is upon us, and I've got love on the brain. Love for books, duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks.
One of the things that happened this year that I thought was really cool, and I don't know if it was different, but it was something that I noticed that I'd never noticed before, is this summer, fall, a ton of books came out by debut Asian or Asian American women authors.
Mm-hmm.
You have Asia Gable's book, The Ensemble. You have Aro Kwan, The Incendiaries. You have Crystal Hana Kim, If You Leave Me. You have
there was a River of Stars by
The
Vanessa
River of Stars. And then also Lillian Lee's the first
number one
Chinese restaurant. And then also I can picture it has that city. It's like Singapore.
Monsoon Mansion.
That also came out this year, but that's not what I was thinking of.
There's also America's Not the Heart.
Yeah.
That was another one. I'm currently in the middle of it.
What's the one I'm thinking of? Hold on. We're going to look it up. I'm going to tell you in a second because it's going to make me absolutely crazy. What We Were Promised by Lucy Tan.
Oh, yes. Yes, I have that one sitting on my shelf.
I've heard great things, but what I really liked about this year is that there was this group of women who published their books, and not on purpose at the same time, but it did feel like there was an opportunity for recognition. And I feel like this book, All You Can Ever Know, was the nonfiction companion piece to all this beautiful fiction that was written.
Definitely.
And I know that those authors some of them connected with one another, and that they were encouraging and embracing each other and lifting each other up. And I just thought, like, that's kind of a special thing that I felt like happened in literature this year. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I realized there was a lot, and I read a lot of those and loved them. So it's really exciting.
So publishers, keep publishing people because they're good writers, not because they're easy to find. Because there's good books out there, and Asian women and Latina women and Black women and trans women and whoever, we need their books. We want their stories. We do. So we're telling you more. Next year, we want to have the summer of, I don't know, the LGBTQ woman's adventures. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, give me something new, But like, didn't it feel really cool this year?
It did. Because I was going through my list of what I read this year, preparing for this podcast, and I realized there were a lot of Asian American women that I read.
Right.
Not, setting out necessarily to do it, but that's just what was coming out and sounded the best to me.
Right.
And I really enjoyed pretty much all the ones that I've read.
Right. And I've not really read much Asian literature at all. And I think some of that is because it's not been front and center. And I think some of it's because I've been lazy. But this summer I got to do that, and this fall, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah.
And the books were a variety of things that either did or did not have to do with being Asian, which I also love to see. Nothing makes me happier than when a Black author can just write about whatever and it doesn't have to be quote unquote Black, or when a queer author can write about a story and it doesn't have to revolve around queerness. And so I think that was also really great that these women wrote books, some of which were entrenched in their Asian cultures, and some of it was like Asia's books, like, I'm writing a book about musicians.
Yeah.
Like, don't at me. Anyways, that was my tangent. Is it my turn now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. The next book I'm picking I'm putting this in the best book category, but I don't know if it was my favorite book. And I'm going to make the distinction because I think this book is very important. I think that this book sets a precedent for other books, hopefully in the future. And the book I'm talking about is Barracoon by Zora Neale Hurston. And if you don't know about this book, it was written in the 1930s. And then it was put away on a shelf because it's written in a slave's dialect. So it's got like apostrophes and, phonetic spelling. And the publishers at the time thought nobody wants to hear these stories, and basically locked the book away. And Alice Walker was part of a group of people who wanted to bring the book back to light. And so the book was published this year with a foreword by Alice Walker and a great introduction and an afterword. And it's the last black cargo is what they call him. He's one of the last people to be brought over from Africa to America and then also became a freedman. And it's his story in his own words as told to Zora Neale Hurston. I really enjoyed this book. It's not a favorite. Like, I didn't read it and think, oh my God, I can't put it down. But I did read it and think, holy shit, this book is so important. And I can't believe that it's here now finally. And we deserve more of this. And this will be a book that we're talking about in years and years, not just the book itself, but how we got to it. So I highly recommend it. It's super short and tiny, and you can read it very quickly and you can come back to it. And it's unlike anything I've ever read. So that is my number 3. Not that these are in order, but that's just my third one.
Okay, so my next pick is another book club pick from you guys.
Oh God,
I know.
Our book club was like up your alley this year.
It really was. Okay, so, but I liked this one a lot more, I think, than you did, but that's okay. Motherhood by Sheila Heti. Yeah, this was very much a Lauren type book. It's really meditative and self-reflective about the decision whether or not to have children. I liked that it was autobiographical fiction because she can kind of take some liberties, and it doesn't have to be, this is necessarily my truth. It's could be a version of my truth and maybe some other women I interact with's truth as well. And it's just something that I think about a lot is motherhood and the decision whether or not I want to have kids. So it's really caused me to reflect a lot, and the writing was just super beautiful, and I'm just a really big fan of her writing. There's actually this really great episode of the New Yorker podcast where Otesha Moshfegh reads one of her short stories.
And she wrote My Year of Rest and Relaxation.
Yes, okay. And it's called My Life is a Joke, and it's so great.
That's her reading
Sheila Heti's short story, I believe. Yeah,
that's very cool.
It's really cool. So after I listened to that, I immediately picked this up, and I just loved it so much.
It's so funny. I liked it fine. Like, it didn't really speak to me. I did like reflecting on the choice whether or not to have children.
Right.
And I liked a lot of the topics that were brought up because the book like kind of talks about abortion and the Holocaust and like what it means to become a parent and what that responsibility is and culturally what that means. I just didn't really like get it.
Right. I just like that we're at a place now, it feels more and more that women have the choice to like reflect on the decision. Yes. It isn't assumed you're having children because you're a woman. So I like that there's a space for this to exist now.
I liked thinking about the book.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was something that I like loved reading is different, but I did like thinking about the book, and I'm glad that the book exists. And I think that the cover is gorgeous.
Yes, it is.
I think it's such a beautiful book. It's so simple.
Yes.
Okay, next up, this book I loved. Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about this book. Okay. Lacey M. Johnson's newest release is called The Reckonings. And this book came into my life in a weird way. Her friend, who's also her publicist, listened to an episode of The Stacks and was like, I think you'd like this book. May I send it to you? And I was like, sure. We'll see. And I got it, and I kind of was like dragging my feet on it. And then I was like, okay, I should read this book because I said that I wanted to. And I posted a picture about it, and Lacey reached out to me and was like, oh, I'd love to hear what you think. I was like, okay, do I need to read your first book or your previous book? And she was like, I don't know. I'll just send you a copy. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. So she sent me her first book, The Other Side. I read it in like 30 seconds. It was amazing. And then I was like, okay, I need to read The Reckonings. And this book is phenomenal. It is the way that it's positioned is incorrect. And I'm going to reposition it because I think that it's hurting the book because it's positioned as a response or her quest for justice for her first book where she was raped and kidnapped by an ex-boyfriend. And it's positioned that it's all a response to that or like what she would want to happen to the person who did this to her. And that's not really the book. That's just the first essay. The rest of the essays all deal with the idea of justice, but we're talking about environmental justice and racism. We're talking about whiteness. We're talking about the way that women are treated, and it's all very topical and relatively recent. There's a great essay on the flood or the Hurricane Harvey in Houston, which is where Lacey lives. There's a great one about the BP oil spill. There's one on children who are dying of cancer, and that is juxtaposed against the death penalty. There's one on mass shootings. Like, she's taking these really difficult, challenging things that humans deal with currently, very relevant, and she's reflecting on what does it mean to have justice for these things, or what is the correct answer here. And not to spoil, but like, I think we all know there's no real correct answer. So these are her reflections. But what Lacey's able to do is she's able to bring in other thinkers and authors and writers, and she's a creative nonfiction writer. So the book is just, the words are so beautiful. And I love this book so, so much. I think that if you like deep, dark ideas about life and politics and the world, not so much politics, but like who we are and who we want to be and what we want our country and our world to look like, this is a great book for you. Did I sell you on it?
Well, you've already sold me on this because you texted me when you were reading it. And I had read The Other Side after you told me about it, and I loved it. And I have a copy of this sitting at home. And hopefully by the time this is posted, I will have read it. And I'm sure I'll be obsessed. And that might be in my top 5.
One of the things that has been in my mind since I read this book, like yesterday, I finished it yesterday. I also read all the notes, and then I went back and reread the first 2 essays after I finished the book because I liked it that much.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that's been on my mind, and it's making me kind of depressed and kind of excited, is that I'd never heard of Lacey Johnson until, I don't know, I picked up her first book was sent to me. I now can't stop thinking about how great she is and what an amazing writer she is. And it makes me excited because I'm like, there must be so many more people in the world that I've never read and never heard of that I one day will read. But it also makes me sad because I wish that she was a household name and that people were calling her a genius, and that she and other writers that exist got the same recognition that, you know, someone who is also a genius, like a Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm glad that people read him, but I'm like, there's more. She's doing a similar thing. Her angle is less race and more, you know, women, and obviously it cuts from her perspective. Right. But I'm like, there's so many authors that I'm just like, how can I find you? How can I find these great people? Because every time I read a book that's not great, I'm like, oh, what a waste, because there's probably someone else who does this better.
Exactly.
So I don't know. That's just my sad and amazing feelings about the reckonings and Lacey M. Johnson. Okay, you're up. These are our last 2.
Yeah, this is my last book. So it is The Air You Breathe, and I'm probably going to butcher this author's name, so I apologize. It's by Frances de Pontes Peebles. I don't know how to say it. She's Brazilian.
That sounded right.
She it's actually a historical fiction, I guess you would call it, but it was more on the literary side. And I think that's why I liked it so much, because the writing was beautiful. It's set in 1930s, 40s Brazil, and it's about 2 young girls. One is the daughter of a sugar cane plantation owner, and the other one is a servant in this household. And they escape together and they want to be singers. And so they kind of rough it for a bit in, I think it's in Rio, they do it. And it's about female friendship and jealousy and just identity and, just kind of finding themselves. And then they end up in Hollywood in the 40s, and just kind of how Hollywood took advantage of them, and they kind of stereotyped them as, oh, these are the Latin characters, and they would kind of make them look horrible in these films. And so it was just completely swept me away to a different time and place, which every once in a while I do really like that. And it just had these 2 female characters that you wouldn't think existed in this time and place. And they did, I'm sure. We just don't know their stories. So that's what I liked so much about it, is that it was different people. You wouldn't, they weren't the quote unquote typical woman back then. And that was really cool. So
I love when books do that. Remind
you,
like, oh, feminism isn't just something that started in 2000.
Right.
Like, it didn't start with the Women's March in 2017.
Yeah.
Like, this has been going on in different ways.
For some time.
Yeah. I love that. That sounds so good. I've heard really great things about that book also. Okay, here's my last one. It's Heavy by Kiese Layman. It is his memoir about his life and his body and his blackness in growing up in Mississippi. And one of the things that I really appreciate about this book is his ability to get very, very vulnerable. He is talking about his physical body, his weight, his obsession with his weight, his addiction, his gambling. Like the book is just, it feels like there's no holds barred. Bar. I don't know that saying, but I know it sounds close to that. It feels like he's not holding back. I have heard him talk about it, and I have heard him say that he did take things out that his mother or his mother didn't want in the book, which is fine. It still feels so raw and personal, but also in a bigger picture, he's also talking about what it means to be Black in America. He's talking, because his mom is such a huge part of the book, it's written to his mother. It talks a lot about feminism and misogyny, and specifically like anti-Blackness and anti-Black womanness, and being twice as good. And it's all these things. I think this book is very Coatsian, but as opposed to being big picture removed, it's very intimate. It's a great memoir.
It's great.
You read it?
Yes, I read it last weekend, and I had never seen representation of a male struggling with eating disorder. So that was something that was just heartbreaking. And yeah, how he keeps, at the beginning, I liked how he, addressed that it's for his mom. And he's like, this isn't the book I wanted to write, but I needed to write this.
Yeah.
And that was just so powerful. And then at the end, how he kind of circled back to that idea was just,
yeah.
This
is one of those books that I wish more people were reading. So pick it up. Okay, I want to share some of the books that listeners of the show also called out. Let me know if you've read any and if you love any.
Okay,
so,
I will.
Wendy Liu, 22, said Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper.
I need to read that.
I read it. It's probably my 6th favorite book of the year. Like, I loved this book. It's so good. It's intersectional women feminism. Okay, I don't know how to say any of these things because their Instagram handles are like letters and stuff, but C Shell DVM said Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. Have you ever read Brene Brown?
No, I have not. Have you?
Not either.
Because she's nonfiction,
But she's like self-helpy, but like in a good way. That's what I've heard. I've heard she's like very uplifting. Oprah like loves her.
Right.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, Lit with Lauren said, I absolutely love The Awkward Age by Francesca Siegel. Have you heard of that?
I've never even heard of that.
I've never even heard of that. Lit with Lauren. You're holding back on us. Okay, Lind Y LLC, or maybe Lindy LLC, that could be helpful, said The Golden State by Lydia Kessling.
Oh, that's on my list. I haven't read it yet, though.
I've seen that cover. It's cool.
Yeah. California book, so
okay. My girl Ardina Reed said There by Tommy Orange. Yes. An American Marriage, but it's Sarah Cooper says An American Marriage. Aunt Bree, these are hard, you guys. Aunt Bree Square Reads, or SQ. Oh, I get it. Hold on, this is so embarrassing. It's Aunt Bree Esquire Reads, but it's ESQ because she's a lawyer, I think. Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Okay.
What else? Sachi Reed says If You Leave Me and All You Can Ever Know.
Okay. I need to read If You Can.
We did it on the show.
I know.
It's
If You
so
Leave
good.
Me, I need to read it.
Okay, so those are just a few. There's more. Like Tangerine is on here. Alexander Chee's How to Write an Autobiographical Novel. Sea Prayer by Khalid Hosseini. So much good stuff came out. A Place Read. I'm just like looking through this list. You guys read a lot of stuff this year. Okay, we're going to do just a quick rundown of the 5 books we're most looking forward to. But before we do, we're going to give some shout outs to the obvious options. We're going to give a shout out to Kamala Harris's new book, The Truths We Hold. We're going to give a shout out to Oprah's new book, The Path Made Clear. Toni Morrison has a new book, The Source of Self-Regard. And then Marlon James also has a new book called Black Leopard, Red Wolf. And we're not putting these on our official list because we feel like you guys already know about these people in these books. Marlon James maybe not, but we both wanted to put it down and we couldn't agree who could have it. So those are like our big books that we're excited about, but we're going to tell you about books that maybe you're not as aware of. That's our plan. Okay, you can start.
Okay, so my first one is actually out in the UK already, but it doesn't come out here till April 16th. It's Normal People by Sally Rooney. So I read her debut novel earlier this year, Conversations with Friends, and I absolutely loved it. This book was actually longlisted for the Man Booker. It's set in Ireland, and it's about a man and a woman who are from the same small town, but they're very different. And it's being, I think, marketed as a love story, but from what I've heard, it's not really a love story. I think it's more political, and I'm think it might have to do with Brexit, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
So
I'm really excited about doing this list because we both don't know what we're talking about. We like kind of have glimpses, but we don't really know for sure, which is fun. Okay, my first one is A Bound Woman is a Dangerous Thing by Damaris B. Hill. And this book is about female Black woman incarceration in America. It says from Harriet Tubman to Sandra Bland. That's basically all I know, but it sounds like everything I've ever wanted to read. Okay, you go.
Okay, so the next one I have is The Water Cure by Sophie McIntosh. It comes out in January. And this one was actually also longlisted for the Man Booker. I'm just nerding out. It's over. It's out in the UK, not here, but it comes out in January.
I feel like this is cheating.
I know. They get it before us. I don't really know why. So it's been described as The Handmaid's Tale meets The Virgin Suicides.
Ooh.
So it's about, I think, an island where women are made to fear men. So sounds like, some feminist dystopian. So I'm here for that.
Love that. Okay, my next one is called Lot by Brian Washington, and this is what I know about the book. It's short stories. It's being published by Riverhead. And Asia Gable, when she was on the podcast, said that she read one of Brian Washington's short stories and cried. It was like in the New Yorker, and cried so hard that she called Riverhead, who had published her book, and said, I need a copy of this. And she hasn't read it yet, but that's all I know. And it just sounds so good. And so I was like, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And it's short stories, and it is fiction. So that's my one wild card.
Okay, so another book I'm going to pick is The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C. She had a book that came out last year, I believe. This one's coming out from Scribner, and all I know is it said for fans of pachinko, which I loved pachinko. So I immediately was like, can I please have one? So, and it's about female friendship. They said in a small island in Korea. So female friendship. Yeah, here for it.
You're here for it. Okay, my next one comes out in February. This should be no surprise to anyone who knows me and knows one of my favorite books. But Dave Cullen, the author of Columbine, is releasing a book in February called Parkland, about the Parkland shooting. And from my understanding, it's less about the shooting itself. The Columbine book is mostly about the shooting and what happened. And Parkland is more focused on the children who survived the shooting and the activism that they've done. It's going to be released 1 year from the date of the shooting. So I don't think he's had enough time to fully research the way that he did for Columbine exactly what happened. So I think this book is more focused on the kids. But Dave Cullen is an amazing, amazing author. And honestly, I'll read anything he writes. So I'm excited.
Oh, that's going to be really good.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's February 14th because I believe the shooting was on Valentine's Day, which is fucked up.
Yeah. So my next pick is The Lost Children Archive by Valeria Lucelli. Yeah, you've told me about Tell Me How It Ends, which I haven't read yet, but I really need to.
So good.
And this is a novel that it's about a family that road trips across America, and there's an immigration crisis at the southwestern border. And it says the writing's beautiful. It just sounds like something that I'm really going to like. So I'm really excited
and
to
I'm
read
sure
it.
It's going to feel very timely
Yes.
with everything that's going on. Okay. My next one is called Black is the Body. It's by Emily Bernard, and it's about her body, her mother's body, and her grandmother's body and their blackness, and it's a memoir, and that's literally all I know. But that's all I really feel like I need to know. Like, I will read a book based on that sentence. So yeah.
Okay, my last one is Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I loved Underground Railroad. It's dark and depressing, but I loved it. He's just so smart. His writing is unbelievable. So this is about two boys that live in Jim Crow era Florida in the 1960s, and they go to an academy, or it's a segregated reform school called Nickel Academy. Okay. So I'm sure it's going to be amazing. He's such a great writer. It doesn't come out till July though, but
Okay.
I'm excited.
My last one comes out late too. Okay, my last one is by Ibram X. Kendi, who wrote Stamped from the Beginning, one of my favorite books I read this year, but it was published last year, so I couldn't include it on my list. And this book is called How to Be an Anti-Racist, and it's his memoir, and all of his writing and his professorshipness, I don't know, his academic studies are in racism and anti-racism, and he is one of those thinkers that I think will be talking about for years and years to come. And this is his memoir about how to be an anti-racist. And it comes out in August, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, that one sounds good.
I'm so excited.
so many
if you
good
haven't
books.
read Stamped from the Beginning and you care about race at all, or you don't care about race and you feel like you don't know anything about it, you should pick up that book. It's major, but you'll feel like you understand America so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that book. Okay, do you want to throw in any last additional anything before we get out?
Did we
here?
mention the new Ta-Nehisi Coates?
Okay, but this is unconfirmed.
Yeah, it's unconfirmed.
Lauren
There's
came
like
in
a
here
rumor
telling me that there's a rumored Ta-Nehisi novel coming out in 2019, but I couldn't find it on the internet.
There's supposedly a new Jamie Attenberg novel, and I loved All Grown Up, but I don't know if that's
I don't even know who that
confirmed or
is.
not.
I don't half the stuff Lauren reads, I don't even know. Okay, well, everybody, that's our year-end wrap-up Short Stacks episode. We will be back next Wednesday. We'll be back on Wednesday. But this has been an awesome year. We're so excited that you guys joined us on the podcast and the stacks and everything. And Lauren, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back. I loved it.
Yay. And
Yeah.
also, everybody, Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, Happy
It's
New Year.
2019 tomorrow. I can't believe it. We somehow survived another year. Yay. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you in the stacks. Thank you all so much for listening to this special episode of the Short Stacks. Thank you again to Lauren Fanella. Remember, to be a part of making this show a reality, go to patreon.com/thestacks. Make sure you're subscribed to The Stacks wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening through iTunes, take a moment to rate and review the show. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tagiragis. This episode of The Short Stacks was created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas, and I will see you in the stacks in 2019.